always forget that fade. How you guys doing? One of these days. How's everybody? All good? Get this music turned off. Let's get that. Let's see. Let's have a look. Get that turned off. Get that removed. Yeah, how's everybody? Week's off to a good start. In fact, we had Bank Holiday Monday yesterday here in the UK. Although I didn't actually know about it. I was stupidly working. But yeah, how is my UK brethren? Have a long weekend. All good. Get up to any shoots? Anybody do any shoots over the weekend? Let's get this sorted here. Looking good. Get that there. Yeah. How you doing, Vlad? Ed, how you doing, mate? Steve, good to see you, mate. Norm, welcome. Look, if that's all that goes wrong tonight, Vlad, I'll be very, very happy. I got a lot of points of failure tonight, so I'll be tethering later on, which, I mean, touch wood, went fine last time, which is good. And I've also got, I don't think you guys can't see, you can kind of see it here. Yeah, so here I've got a desk cam, so I can kind of bring in, and hopefully I can use it whilst we're kind of looking at the light. Not just to show off my sick 360 no scopes on CSGO. We can actually use it for showing off the lights as well. That's Fortnite to anybody born after Y2K. Yeah. Let's get this pulled in here. Chris, how you doing, mate? You shot the weekend. Nice. Did it go well? Did it go good? Is the image in the share shoot? Which actually reminds me. So, if you're new here, then every time we do a stream, we go through your images, which you've kind of posted, and they are posted in the share shoot, which is this post over here on Facebook. Now, this week I kind of messed up because I kind of posted it, and then Facebook was like, looks like you're putting a date and time in there. Seems like that's an event. Would you like people to attend that? And I was like, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. And then you turn it into an event, and then you can't really post an image or kind of, so I didn't really realize. And then like hours after I'd kind of posted it, I had to kind of delete it and re-upload it. So it is quiet on the feedback this week. So I appreciate anybody who posted an image. But it will be a quick one. But if anybody wants to post an image, then they certainly can do. Just head over to that link I just posted in there. This image, just pop it in the comments, and we can have a look. I mean, to be fair, we got quality over quantity, so that's good. We got some. I think Yeah, Chris, this is you here. Yeah, experiment with some motion. Is this the? Was this from the weekend? I didn't say that CSGO is Fortnite. I just kind of alluded to the fact that, the young people are playing Fortnite these days, not CSGO. Although CSGO is still massive, of course, but yeah. I got some weird grinding noise happening there. I don't know where that's coming from. Could be. Is it the hard drive? Weird. You guys can't hear it. Let's just see. If everything just crashes, then it'll be an expensive evening. But yeah. I don't know where that noise is coming from, but kind of weird. So what are we doing today? Well, today we are going to be getting hands-on with one of the lights that Godox sent me. So those of you not familiar, it's the MS60, which is like the Coke can sized light. Very incredibly modular light. Very small. Like I said, it is the size of a Coke can. So it's I was kind of interested because it falls under Godox's kind of no LED line, which is for cinematographers really. right? So it's kind of geared up for them, and Godox themselves have openly said that that's what they are targeting with that. So I was kind of curious as to what this light was able to do, you know. Yeah. So we will have a look at that. I'll tether it up, and we can also try that. Yeah. Yeah. So that'd be good. And then, like I said, yeah, we'll set up the not the webcam, but the desk cam. We can try that out. Yeah. The shoot was from last weekend, but share shoot is from weekend before. Okay. So it's still new though. Yeah, it's still new. Yeah. So that says, I'll make a light diagram for mine before you get to it. I saw this. Yeah, it's interesting. So I was trying to set up the desk. Those of you, this is what Vlad's posted here, which I saw on Instagram. He said it was a 3D printed GoPro vertical arm thing, and it's funny actually, because I saw your post on Instagram, and then I was trying to set up the desk cam here. I'm going to try and use my phone just because it in theory should be easier, but we'll see. But I was trying to use the GoPro as well, and I was like, damn, I could really do with Vlad's right angle adapter for this. But yeah, it looks cool, man. Yeah, it looks cool. So let's see, Lennart. Okay, we got Chris, we got Nico, and we got Peter in there as well. Okay, good stuff. Jake's creaky bum. I just arrived. What's creaking now? I think pretty good. How you doing, Jamie? Anyway, mate. Yeah, good to see you. You've been well. It's been a couple of weeks. How's it all treating you? We will cover some news. I haven't been. It was a busy week last week, so I wasn't really plugged into the news too much. There was a couple of bits that I just kind of grabbed in preparation for the stream, but kind of almost for the sake of it, really. But yeah, if anybody saw anything cool that was released, chances are I missed it. So please either let one of the mods know or post it in here in the share a shoot via the link I just got there, and I will check it out as well. I didn't see a huge amount of news this week. Previous weeks we've been busy with NAB and other photo shows and video shows and all that sort of stuff, but this last week seemed to have been pretty quiet. That said, I do typically get my news from an email subscription to DIY Photo, and that is not as good as it used to be, just in terms of new bits and pieces. So I might have to look elsewhere. Yeah. Vlad says, yeah, Newer has a new flash for outdoors. Let me find a link. Okay. Interesting. So for outdoors, so you're talking about IP rated and stuff, yeah? Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Liz, how you doing, mate? Yeah. It has been a while, yeah. Lemon Trees are now out of the studio, so it's set up again, ready for shoot. Lemon Trees are now out of the studio, so it's set up again, ready for shooting. Refresh my memory, Liz. What is that in relation to the Lemon Trees? Yeah. Jimmy says I edited one image from last week, but very monochromatic, so not really wanting to share. Okay. So are you saying that you're kind of not happy with sharing it? Like the image is fine, you're just not happy with the final grade that you've gone for? Look, I've been there, and I think it's sensible to kind of sit on a color grade as well for a little bit. Let it kind of simmer, come back to it with fresh eyes and that sort of thing. So I totally get that. Yeah. I will also talk about because I had hands on with the light on, was it Friday or something like that, and I had some lighting diagrams and that sort of thing, and some BTS from the shoot. So I will be sharing all of that as well, so we can actually go through the shot process and see what it does, see where it excels and that sort of thing. But okay, so yeah, if you're just joining and you wanted to share an image in the share a shoot, is the link in chat. Just a few comments up, head over there, post your link in the comments, and we can have a look at it later on. But for now, let's get cracking with the news. That's the stream. Let's have a look. I was in bits here. Here we go. Okay, so I kind of had to include this because this was in my emails from Pro Photo, and I just kind of had to Just going to have to include this for this price. This is wild. So does anybody know if this is new? Because the way that they were carrying on, it kind of alluded to the fact that this was new, like a new product. Now, Profoto has had these optical snoots or projection units, or whatever you want to call them, for many, many years. In fact, when I was working with Bowens, or sponsored by Bowens a million years ago, Bowens made their one and just adapted it for the Profoto one. Now, that's kind of why the Profoto one was so expensive, was because Bowens was selling it to them, and then Profoto was then putting their price on top of it as well. So it was exactly the same unit back in the day. It was just that obviously the Profoto one was like twice the price. So part of me was always, after that, was always curious as to, is Profoto making all of these bits and pieces themselves, or is another company kind of making them and then passing it on, hence the extraordinary costs? Because as far as I can tell, this thing comes with one lens, and I couldn't find any other notion of any other lenses that came with this. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a 115mm lens, so it's a very tight lens. So okay, so I can get a dome on it. Yeah, okay. So as far as I'm aware, it doesn't have any other. Yeah, so it's just got the 115mm optical lens, which is wild. Super, super tight lens. So really, really small lens. Now, I mean, which is great. Like if you're doing like food and stuff, right, and you want to be getting like a really small, just a glow of light on something small, or like you could just imagine like a shaft of light coming down the side of like a Coke can with ice falling down it or something like that. Perfect. But for headshots and that sort of stuff, it's a pretty tight beam. Yeah. So and I can find no other lens that goes onto it. So it's just this one size. So kind of surprised that Profoto are doing that, but just thought I'd mention it anyway. Yeah. Do you use Bowens mount modifier with the Godox? So you say the Godox, you talking about the MS60R thing that we're kind of going to be talking about later. So I mean, it has all its own modifiers, and we can get into this in a bit, Danny, but I would kind of be inclined to keep using its modifiers just because of the way that it throws out its light, right? And I'll kind of explain that, and it'll make more sense when we start using it. So like there's nothing wrong with you can you get those SFIT modifiers where it's like the speed light, and you have like the clamp that comes down. You could happily put this in that if you wanted to. I've got 2 or 3 of them over there. You put it on a light stand, you got your SFIT on one side, on this side you got a clamp that you screw your speed light into. So you could obviously use that if you wanted to, but I don't really think that you would want to be doing that. I mean, you could do, yeah. How are you doing anyway, Danny? Yeah, it's been a while, mate. Yeah. This says, literal citrus trees take over my studio over winter, nowhere else to put them. Oh, I see, Liz, gotcha, okay. So you bring them in to stop them from being killed by the frost and that sort of stuff. Gotcha, yeah. That's pretty funny, though, yeah. James says, yeah, I'm happy with it, but the older work before my venture into colour. Also, I see, gotcha. Also latex, and everyone is probably getting fed up with seeing them. No, I don't think so, mate. I mean, I think that's your kind of niche, and there's nothing wrong with being, excellent at that niche, No, I don't think anybody's fed up with seeing it at all, mate. Yeah, absolutely not. I see Vlad's over on the Petapixel train. Let's have a look. I might have to sign up. Do they do like a newsletter or something, Vlad, every day? Do you know? Okay. So Vlad just sent this over. So sleek, powerful, newer Q6 flash made for outdoor photographers. Okay. So it's looking like a bit of a beast. We can see in here, this is the old actual, flash tube. So we get like kind of an idea of how big that is. It's probably going to be, like yay big. And if I'm not mistaken, those flash tubes are replaceable to the point where they have like 3 pins, and you just plug them into the actual unit itself. So flash tubes would be replaceable on that, which is nice. Okay. it's pretty sleek design for Newer. Those of you who are not aware of who Newer is, they're definitely more, they're definitely seen as more of a budget brand. So maybe you're, lacking a little bit of consistency in the color and, like the power from shot to shot and that sort of stuff. But for the most part, the light's still going to do its job, Okay, so it's got all the dials and stuff on the back. It's kind of funny, like seeing these dials and buttons that you would see elsewhere, and they just put them on there. Kind of interesting. Yeah. So 600. So that's 600 power. So yeah. So that there. Right. So this here can come off. So you could, so that's kind of cool. I mean, I assume that can come off, and then obviously the flash tube could come off as well. So it could pack away pretty small. I wonder if I'll have a look down, see if they have it without any of that on. I presume that's the modifier on the front. So it could pack down pretty small, which could be an interesting. You could definitely put 4 of those in a bag, pretty tight, and then just put this, like the tubes and stuff, somewhere else. Yeah, interesting. Good spot, Vlad. Totally missed that. Yeah, totally missed that. 30-watt modeling lamp. The modeling lamp's adjustable. Okay. Yeah. All the TTL systems work with all the normal camera brands and that sort of stuff. Okay. Photographers can adjust the power from 1/500th to 1/1 full in 0.1 increments. Okay. So you can really dial that in. Is there a price on this? Q6 is capable of flash durations of 10,000th. Jesus. Okay. It's no slouch then. Yeah. Okay. Delivering high-speed sync at 8,000ths of a second. Okay. Interesting. TTL, all that sort of stuff. What is the IP rating? I didn't see it there, but 500 quid. Damn. Okay, that's okay. Now again, those of you who don't know, Newer is, like I said, on the budget end. So although this is pricey for them, that is incredibly good value from just a cursory look at the features there. Yeah. 3 kilos. Oof, okay. Not the end of the world. Yeah. You can take the handle off as well, so you can really pack that down. Yeah, I'd be interested to see. I'm not seeing any videos or anything like that, or any images without any of that stuff on. But okay. Yeah. Love James Lee. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Norm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it ain't like that anymore. Newer got pricey, did they? Yeah. I mean, it seems like a decent piece of kit for that money. Yeah. And did you notice the white balance of that flash being 5700? I didn't know. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So Vlad says there we got color temperature promises stable color temperature of 5700 plus or minus 100. Okay. So what's kind of the typical one then, Vlad? I mean the ones I've seen are 5500. Is that fair? A lot of the flashes I've seen have been 5500. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Vlad. That is that's a good spot, because that's an interesting push from Newer. Yeah. Fair play. Oh, nice one, Jamie. Okay, I'll have a look in a minute. Yeah. So again, more lights. We've got Jun here apparently bringing out a 100-watt RGB. The reason why this is relevant is because of how small the Jun lights typically are. So like that light is probably like that big, right? With the battery on. So for a 100-watt light RGB in that size, I mean, you can see his hand there, right? I was kind of noticed that. Like, we'll see when it comes out whether this is kind of the final model here, because we're just talking about teasers. So we'll see. I mean, that's very compact for 100 watts. You can see how thin that is. Granted, you're going to have the modifier on top of that, but like LED lights, 100 watt. You could slip those, like literally, you could carry practically 3 of those in a laptop case. You know, it's wild. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. 55 is daylight, 6.5 is usual for flash. Do you know what? I haven't tested any of my flashes in years. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure. Like you are absolutely right in what you're saying about 5500 being daylight. Maybe a little bit colder for flash. Yeah, I need to test that now that you've mentioned it, Vlad. Yeah. It's funny, like you talking about it there. I just haven't used Flash in years. It's weird. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you got me thinking now though. I want to test it. Yeah, I'll have to see. Yeah, see what the ones I've got are. So Danny says, I've been shooting for 6 times a week and have not had much time to do creative work, but we'll soon. Nice, Danny. That's good that you're busy, mate. Yeah, you're doing events and stuff. I know last time we spoke, you were doing a lot of events over there. Where are you based again, Danny? Good that you're busy though, mate. Yeah, really good that you're busy. Yeah, it's good stuff. Another light, shocking, right? You're lucky Vlad's here to bring you the flash information. I've just got LEDs. So this one here from Small Rig. Those of you who don't know, Small Rig typically known for making a bunch of the like the kit and stands and frames and cases and all that sort of stuff for cameras and bits and pieces. So that's kind of their heritage. But they have been pushing into lighting more and more in the last sort of 12 months or so, I think, maybe a little bit more. So they come out with this one. So this is 100 watt cob, so single point there, full color, 270 quid, which is very good. So this is the head itself. So okay. So you could use any number of batteries on that, right? That's interesting. Or am I thinking of something else? What size is this then? So we got that is compact. Yeah, 100 watts again. Crazy. Yeah, okay. Most of these units, just one big fan, is wild. Like you saw in the previous one from Jun, right? It's just one big fan. That's it. It's just a big fan. Like that's what's taking up the space. Again, that's what's taking up the space here. Yeah. So 1.5 kilos. Now, presumably that's without the battery, right? That is just I find it hard to believe that that's with the battery. Let's have a look. First up, power, so wired and wireless. Okay, so that's cool. So you can have the wire in there as well. Just the wire pack. Okay. Offers sunlight simulating range from 2,500 to 10,000. Okay, that's a very big range. That is a very big range, and I kind of want to talk about keeping an eye on these ranges that we're starting to see from LED lights, because some of them are dipping into the RGB to synthesize white balance in some of these lights, right? And I kind of want to talk about it. I noticed it with the MS60, which we'll have a look at in a minute, because that has a huge Kelvin range, and I was like sus. I was like, this small light. But yeah, so we'll talk about this. So we'll kind of see, because that's a very big range. Like typically for even very pretty expensive lights, you're looking at maybe 3,500 to 8,500 or something like that. So this is a big range. But yeah, good lights. We're looking for that price. Presume it's S-Fit, right? Did anybody see it? I didn't see. It's got to be S-Fit, right? Or is it could be too small for S-Fit. Oh no, it looks like it might be. Yeah. 95. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, interesting. That looks dense. Yeah, right. Yeah, not much room for error in there. Yeah. I mean, okay, just catching up on those. All good, all good. Does anybody own stuff from Small Rig? Does anybody? Because I don't. I know it's very popular in the video world. A lot of people using, like I said, a lot of their frames and stuff for their cameras and that sort of thing, and bits and pieces like that. But I don't. I've never used any of their stuff. It's kind of interesting to see them branching out into lighting now. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on what they're doing. Horrendous gel work here, but look, is I get it. You know, they're not photographers that, you know, they make lights. Kind of including this because I thought this was pretty funny. Like, we're starting to, like, I see a lot of these fancy arty-farty people now making lights, because it just, LEDs have just become so ubiquitous, right? You know, like Vlad has said, with a little bit of know-how, you can easily make your own. Programmers do whatever you want, but buy the bits and that sort of stuff. And then these kind of fancier people making bespoke lighting for expensive homes and all that sort of stuff. And it's just kind of funny to like, designed by Carrasco Barcelona, like, you know, it's like, dude, is a tube light. But you know, it's interesting to see how it's branching out. Yeah. Is there any more pictures? It's got a video at least. Just look. I had a quick look for a price, but there was no price there. You know that is extortionate. Yeah. You know that's huge money. Yeah. He designed LED strip. I know, Vlad, man. I know. It's like, come on. Yeah, with magnets at the end. It's I just thought it was funny. I thought at least Vlad would get a tickle out of it. Yeah, it's pretty. You're a missed opportunity, Vlad. You need to get in on that. That's it. You need to get in on it. I kind of keep a cursory eye on these lenses that get kind of remade. So this is another example here from these light guys. So Light Lens Lab 50mm 1.5, which was from the Z21. So this is looking to be a pretty impressive piece of kit, and it looks like they've managed to make it almost identical, right? So they got the old and new one there, and then they've got comparisons here. We can see the kind of the vintage style and like the super nerd shit right there. Even put it on the Hasselblad, which is kind of funny. So they got the original here. They're using the original, and then this is their lens. So they've done a pretty good job. Looks like they've taken out a little bit of the green that was in the original lens, warmed it up a little bit, intentionally or not, I don't know, but yeah. So look, it's not going to be of interest to everybody, but it is I think it's cool when some of these old lenses get remade. I used the Petzval lens, the shoot on Friday, and I used it outside, and I used it in the shoot that I'm going to show you in a bit. Actually, I think I did actually keep some of the shots because I thought they were pretty interesting. So some of these old lenses are, I got it down there, but yeah, it's just an old brass lens that was remade by Lomo, and I think they're a lot of fun to use. Yeah. So good luck to these guys. Hopefully they do more bits like this, because this is a solid piece of kit they've made. I'm not seeing any price. I think it's still in production. Oh, okay. Further details regarding specifications, pricing, availability will be announced end of the month. Okay, so we can just have a look at it from now. But I will keep an eye on that one. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know that's worth $10 tops from the materials. Stupidly rich in a photo. Hey, I thought. Come on, Vlad. Come on. Another one here was just Adobe strangely opening up Photoshop for third-party AI image gen tools, which I thought was crazy for Photoshop to do this. So Adobe opens up Creative Cloud to third-party AI models, right? So Adobe's introduced non-Adobe generative AI models for the very first time in Creative Cloud. It is designed to create ease for creators who often juggle between different tools during brainstorming process. Hence, Adobe is taking efforts to the next level, adding third-party AI models to the Creative Cloud. So, interesting. I mean, technically, I suppose plugins and all that sort of stuff like they do all the time, but you have to remember that Adobe spent millions on Firefly, right? Which I've never ever heard of anybody using. But I presume Firefly is kind of used inside Photoshop already, right? If you're using generative AI in Photoshop, I presume that is Firefly, right? I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. Adobe says the incorporation of third-party AI models into Creative Cloud would enhance project concept and Adobe Express. Does anybody use Adobe Express, by the way? With chances of more collaboration in the future. For now, so we've got Black Forest, Fowl, which is like an upscaler, Google Cloud, and then Runway. So a bunch of ones that nobody's heard of, but you can use them. I'm wrong about my balance of Flash. Lightroom says for I mean, it does. Yeah, I mean, like it does. Like the presets on your camera will go at like around that 5500 as well for that. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong about the flashes themselves. Yeah. So, and then they just follow up here saying Adobe isn't leaving Firefly. All Firefly is still there and existing support for legal use, training on. Yeah. I wonder what that does mean for copyrights and the legality of using these frameworks and stuff. Is crazy. Yeah. I mean, they don't really go on to say bits there, but final thoughts. Excitement and caution both are hitting me hard. Personally, I think Adobe's approach to open Creative Cloud third-party AI models acknowledges today's diverse creations, which it does. I think if you are creating AI work, you're probably not doing it in Photoshop. You're certainly using another tool, in my opinion. Yeah, I know generative AI isn't the universal solution. What impresses you might not impress you, someone else. Yeah, so different tools for different people. Yeah, it's a rainbow of different eyes. Adobe is already reflecting its commitment to transparency. You should be wise enough to check the fine print. So that's it. Yeah, he raises a good point here, or she. I apologize. She raises a good point here on the. When you're signing up to Adobe, they say that you can't use. I think it still states in the fine print that you can't use generative AI in their Adobe Photoshop for commercial jobs, right? So you can't create an image and then charge for it. Now that's obviously everybody's doing that, but that's Adobe's kind of get out of jail card. Was like, well, we said that you couldn't sell it, right? So there is no copyright issue here because you're not selling it, so we're not worried. So we'll see. So she is right to point out there. Watch the fine print. Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, not ton of news this week that I saw. I appreciate Vlad bringing up that flash because I thought that was actually pretty interesting, and that is pretty bold for Newer because they're normally pretty safe. Keep things pretty safe. They're they know their lane, and they've been staying in it. So it's interesting to see them pushing out of it a bit more. And Small Rig's doing the same thing. And look, let's be honest. It's just because like kind of Vlad and myself have alluded to here is that the tech behind LEDs is maybe not as complicated as people think. And once you've got the premise of it down and the parts are cheap, there's a decent markup to be made. Yeah, can you imagine how much these fellows are making? So it's starting to see more and more companies kind of branch out and bring out these lights. And look, I think it's fine. I think for most of us, a lot of these LED lights are going to be absolutely fine. A couple of weeks ago on stream, we tested out the like $15 LED head that I bought in Hong Kong. Right, it was like literally for $15, and I kind of bought it as a joke. I was gonna fire it up on stream. We were gonna have a look, and we were almost gonna take the mick out of it and that sort of stuff. Like, oh yeah, 15 quid or whatever. To turn it on, I was genuinely pretty damn surprised. Right, It was brighter than I expected. The shadows and the edge transitions that it was casting, razor sharp. It came with a remote. It appeared that the Kelvin range was actually far broader than it said on the packet as well. So look, you can get most of the way there with a lot of LED lighting, whether it's cheap LEDs or not. You can get most of the way there. Now, if you want that extra like precision, control, and consistency, you got to pay for that top end, right? So most of the lights will get you 80% of the way there. And if you want to take the time to micromanage it afterwards in post, you can kind of get rid of most issues. But if you're somebody who's working commercially, or you're shooting still life, right, and you're doing a lot of focus stacking, or you're doing HDR, like shooting different exposures, and that sort of thing, and you're going to be combining these images later on, there can't be inconsistencies in these lights, right? You can't have 20, 30, 50 frames and they all be a slightly different Kelvin or exposure and that sort of stuff. So when you're trying to get that last kind of 10, 20% of quality and consistency, that's where you really have to pay for it. But for the most part, you can get most of the way there with relatively inexpensive LEDs. And that 15 quid one that I picked up in China is a good example of that. In other words, you're now making ads. Yeah, right. Yeah. Affiliate link is in the description, by the way. I don't know if you wanted a deal, then I could probably get a couple of quid off that 15 quid light. No worries. Okay, so news out of the way. Unless anybody else has got any links for me to share, I will move on to the main event and watch me struggle through this live on stream. So what we're going to be talking about now is the Godox MS60R, which is what they sent over to me here, right? So it's tiny little LED head. So we're going to be digging into that, what it involves, what it can do, who is it for, right? Is it any good? All these kind of things I kind of want to touch on and look at. But spoiler alert, I was pretty impressed. So let's get kind of the disclaimers out of the way now before people get upset. Godox sent me these lights. Last month or so, we did a stream here where we were kind of speaking about some no-LED lights that I saw at the photo show via Yang at Essential Photo. Godox saw that stream and we're like, okay, seems cool. I was like, would any chance I could have a play with them? And they sent them over via Essential Photo. So big shout out to Essential Photo, because he got them over to me like within a day. I was like, look, if you want, I got a shoot on Friday. I'm going to be shooting in a tight space. I think I could use them there if you want to get them over. So he did. So I was kind of using these on the shoot on Friday, pretty much blind, right? So kind of playing with them during the shoot. So it was kind of cool. And we'll kind of look at some of those shots in a minute. So yes, Godox did send these over. Are they paying me? No. If you want to pay me to say what you want, that's fine. I got Pomeranian with expensive tastes. I got bills to be paid, but they're not paying me for this. So sadly, honesty is free. So I'll just be giving my thoughts on them as they occurred to me during the shoot. I will be doing more of an in-depth review on them later on. That's kind of what they've requested from me for sending the lights over. So they'll certainly keep an eye out for that. But for now, let's kind of look at the overview of these lights. So let's see, what do we got here? Let's ditch this and let's find the page where I got them here. Here we go. So this is what we're talking about, the MS60Rs. So there's a bunch of different versions here. There's 4 different versions, right? So I want to kind of quickly go over what those 4 different versions are. But for now, we can kind of see this very modular system here, right? Very, very small. And if I'm just going to refresh this a second, because they actually had... Oh, here it is. watch video. We're not going to watch all of this. Let's just watch the first kind of 20 seconds of this, and I just kind of want you to see what I mean. I just have it muted just in case of copyright. I can't bother to deal with it. So I just kind of wanted to show you the start of that, because I think it kind of gives you a really good impression right off the rip as you know what this light is trying to do. You know, so it starts off here at the back. We've got a bunch of different power options. You can plug it in. You can obviously even plug it into the lamp socket if you want. What is this, E27, like this screw fit E27? Yeah. Or you can just run it off maybe some of the batteries that you already have. Right, so already off to a good start. Tons of options there, and that's the battery that it comes with. I'll show you in a second. And then these are kind of all the different modular options for the front of it, right? And you can see there's tons of different options there. So, okay, seems interesting. And come on, Jake, there's loads of lights out there. I can use any of my S-Fit modifiers already. There's nothing new there in terms of modifications. But you've got to remember that this light is doing all of this in the size of a Coke can, packet, right? Which is what's really, it's impressive. Yeah, it is impressive. So it can do all of this, but in a very small space. Now they sent me a kit here. There was a video that I posted, like the unboxing thing, and the kit that they sent me is a 2-light kit, and it's the size of a shoebox, right? It's wild, yeah. So here you go, yeah. So 2-light kit here, and it comes with it comes with this main lens here. It comes with a different power cable back, the battery, the barn doors, snoots, mini kind of diffusion dome here. I don't know, 6 or 7. Different grids that we can put on there. Comes with a zoom lens here, which is very good, which we'll have a look at. Comes with a couple of different soft boxes as well, like the bracket, the E27, all that sort of stuff. ×2, because it's a 2-light kit, right? And it all comes in in a box that, if you saw my video, it is the size of a shoebox, and it doesn't even weigh that much. So that's just wild. I was doing the unboxing, and I just kept bringing stuff out and finding another bit in a pocket or something like that. So it's kind of wild. Yeah. So first impressions were this is crazy. Yeah. Just catch up on the comments here. Let's have a look. I wonder if this will make it stupid according to guidelines errors. Go over the Gen AI. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a sweet light. I wish it would also flash like Rhodolite. I may consider buying this for headshots. Yeah, okay, fair comment, Danny. Yeah, so it doesn't flash. You're right. So this is just LED, and we'll get into different versions of LED in a second. But yeah, you're right. This doesn't flash. Yeah. It transforms into a spaceship if you don't stop adding the frames. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they'll get the back and the front. Yeah. Sam says, do you prefer the soda can design of the Godox versus the various small cob lights from pocket panel lights, the same output? For example, the Godox RS60 versus Jun Molus Amaran 60 watt panels. So you're specifically referring to different shapes, right? Or because you're referring to like the panels there, and as opposed to this kind of Coke can, or so the Jun panels are kind of like the card size ones. Is that right? Like the panel shaped ones, and then you plug that into the front of that. I think that's what you're kind of getting at. Yeah, different shapes with the same output. Okay, fair. Yeah. Interesting comment. It's not something that I'd kind of thought of. I think visually, aesthetically, I was drawn to this little. I was kind of drawn to this over the square panels. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's going to be doing the same thing, right, in terms of plugging modifiers into it. But yeah, yeah, I think we'll get into what it's doing with the front bit there. I think those panel ones and what they can do with the cob. I don't know. We'll see. I was definitely impressed with this, specifically this kind of lens reflector, which we're going to have a look at in a minute. Yes, there is the cob in there, the little LED in there, but I was really impressed with what this lens is doing, and we'll kind of speak about that in a minute. And I wonder if it was possible to do that with these other brands. But first impressions was I did kind of like the aesthetic of this sort of cylinder. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let me just see if I can set up this thing here. Let's see if it works. Oh, it is working. Nice. Okay, so I'm just going to see if we can move stuff around a little bit here. Let's get this. So you have to apologize for the noise here. The crutch cam, guys, come on! What a wasted opportunity. I could be making mad dollar. Right, let's just get a little bit of light on here. So this is it here, and you can see the size of it there, right? So let's check. Yeah, the microphone's all working in this different scene. All good. Okay. So we got the back of it here. Well, let's first off let's take this off. So this comes off, which is the mount. You guys can see all this okay on your end, right? It looks to be on my end, but I just want to check, seeing it's the first time I'm using this. So this is the bracket that it comes with. Pretty evident, right? It just plugs into the bottom of it there, screws in, and then you've got this is metal. This is very, very heavy duty for the size, in my opinion. Big handles to really crank this tight. Washers in here as well. Brass washers in there. This, obviously I won't spend too much time talking about this, but like this sort of thing, I think they could have put a plastic one in here and nobody would have kind of noticed. So it's kind of good to see them going down that high end route a little bit more. You know, like I said, I think they could have put hard plastic in there and, you know, maybe got away with it. But this is you know, nice piece of kit. So next up, once we've got that, we've got the rest of the light here. Let's just turn it on here a second. So we got the on button over here. Oh, I need to put battery in it. So let's talk about that first. So because at the moment it's got the power adapter that you can just put in there, right? So let's get that off. So that just comes off there like that, right? And then the pack came with 4 of these batteries, right? And I haven't tested it myself. Supposedly, I think they're supposed to last like an hour at full, like max burn. It's got a little indicator there as well, which is nice. And they just go right on top there. Okay, so it sits on there nicely as well. So now we can turn it on. The other thing as well is that in the shoot in a minute, you'll see that I was actually using it plugged in, and that was purely because I got the lights last minute and like they weren't charged, and I needed to kind of charge them before the shoot, so I just ended up plugging them in. One thing I will say is that LED lights that have the ability to be plugged in are kind of mandatory in my system, personally, right? I think batteries that last an hour and that sort of stuff, or 2 hours and that sort of thing, which is kind of fairly common, is just no good for me personally. So kind of coming back to one of your questions there, Sam, about like the different lights and the different brands and that sort of stuff. This is kind of designed with being plugged in mind. So like, you know, the cable sits not nicely in the back there, and then it's, you know, it's out of the way and that sort of stuff. And it comes with a nice long cable as well. So having the ability to plug this in is kind of mandatory for me. So what happens now is you saw me switch the switch on, and now it has this drag down on the dial to actually turn it on. Okay. So let's have a look. So let's just go in here. This is at 0.1% of the second. I'm just going to turn that off for a second, okay, because we've got no light. So let's go to the main mode here. And this has got CCT, so your Kelvin range. Okay, you've got the HSI, which is the hue, saturation, and intensity, right? You got your gels, and then you got your RGBW, your XY, and your FX. So, like, for the most part, most of us, I would say, are going to be working in the CCT and the HSI, right? Because, I mean, even in the gels, so if we just go in there, so the gels are down here, so they got R, which is Roscoe, and then you got Lee, which is Lee, and you got the different gels and that sort of stuff, which is fine if you're matching stuff on set. I get it, but for the most part, most of us are going to be just using the CCT and the HSI, right? So that's that, and then you got your FX, which is all the, the candlelight and all that sort of stuff, right? And then we got the menu in there, so we got our DMX, we got our CRMX, Bluetooth, all these extra stuff that, right? All the stuff that most of us don't typically go into, right? If it turns on, we're good to go. So that's that, right? As your menus and stuff there. Now, in kind of impressions on that is that this dial is very sensitive, right? So you can turn that, and then the accept button is actually to push down on the dial, which means that it's easy to, as you're pushing down on the dial, is to kind of turn it, right, accidentally. Small thing, but it did happen a bunch. And I would say that the app that I was using, the Godox Lite app, whatever it is kind of mandatory for these little things. It's just kind of easier. And you'll see in a minute in the shoot, I had them kind of up in a place where I was just not gonna be able to use it. This connected via Bluetooth straight away, and then off we go. I'm using the phone at the minute, but I will show you the app in a second. Okay. Let's just check where we are with the kind of the comments here a second. Are these the same accessories as the V1 uses? No. So these accessories, to my knowledge, are all completely unique, unless the front of this here and like this kind of mini S-fit attachment here, I haven't looked into it. It's a good question, but to my knowledge, these are the this attachment point here is for this one. Although I'm looking at it and it looks like it should fit other stuff as well. So I don't have any. I don't have the V1, so I don't know any of the accessories that has. I'm afraid, Sam. But it's a good question, yeah. The same adapter comes with the 8200. You're right, Sterling. Yes, it does. Yes, yeah, you're right. That is, yeah, it is fair. It does seem to be a fairly standard piece of kit from Godox. But that said, I don't have a ton of Godox kit, so you guys are kind of knowing a little bit more about it than I am. But I do have the 8200, and you're right. Thinking back, I do have a couple of these already in a kit somewhere. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Is Godox selling the brackets separately? If so, would buy them by the kilo? It's good. You're right that it is very sturdy. I was amazed at how tight that is as well. Once it's cranked out, like I said, like one of the main things here is this juicy, crank handle. You're not trying to break your fingers trying to tighten a tiny thing here. So you can really get that tightened up. The other thing as well is that it has the umbrella attachment there. And as we know, we kind of want the umbrella as close to the light as possible, and that once that's screwed in, is going to be damn near like touching the light itself. So it's going to be super tight to the light. Yeah. Don't know, but they are apparently using it a lot, so I would expect so. Yeah. Does it have a USB input for power too? So when you say this. You may be referring to this kind of USB-C here, right? And the back of it has one here as well. So I don't think you can run it directly from that. That is for charging. Now, I'm going to admit a stupid kind of mistake here, but they give you two cables, I think. They give you USB-C to USB-C, right? So it plugs in there, and then you got another USB-C. So I was like, okay, is that I'm just going to charge these lights with that. So I plugged that, so I plugged this battery in, and then I plugged it into USB-C that I had, and then plugged that into the wall. That took 12 hours to charge. Okay, that took 12 hours to charge, doing it like that. So that was my mistake, apparently, because what I didn't realize was what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to plug it into this, right? So you plug this into the wall, right? And then you plug the USB-C into that, and then you daisy it up to that, right? And then this charges in 2 hours then. Okay, I haven't tested it, but if you're just plugging that into your laptop, which is essentially what I did, I think I plugged it into the PS5. It took like 12 hours to charge because it was completely dead. And I will say, in fairness, I think this is the higher kit, so I'm assuming that when you actually buy it, it will have some life in it. But yeah, it was definitely a schoolboy error on my part. But yeah, so you plug this into the wall, and then you plug the USB-C into that, and then you plug it into this, and then boom, 2 hours fully charged. So lesson learned, right? Lesson learned. What's the app like? The app is absolutely excellent, Sterling. And look, I will happily shit on crappy lighting apps all day, because I'm sure, like you, I have used a bunch of terrible ones. But this one was very good, and we can open it up in a minute. Once I'm done using the iPhone for this, we can open it up in a minute and have a look. But it worked flawlessly on Friday. Found the lights instantly. I had like 4 or 5 lights in it, attached, and it was absolutely fine. So I have to say, credit where credit's due. It was very, very good. Yeah. Sometimes I don't like the Jeune Motor 60 watts because you can put the battery on the side, which makes it feel unbalanced. It is very weighty on one side. Yes, super weighty on that one side. Proprietary mount, not Bowens. Ain't trying the multiple mini modifiers, different mounts. Okay. Yeah. The 8200 is the same as the V1 accessories. Okay. So I suppose we just need to find out what other accessories that is like. It could well be, I mean, it could be called like a G mount or something, but good questions, and I will find it out for the review. So I certainly appreciate you asking. And look, this is the main reason I'm doing the live stream and streaming is for the questions, right? There's no point in me doing a video. I'm doing this live stream for you. It has nothing to do with the fact that I hate editing video. I'm doing it all for you guys. The mini modifiers seem to be the thing nowadays. It does, Vlad. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Googling back to the bracket, I was designing those. Going back to the bracket, I was designing the kind of brackets the entire week, and this looks super good. Exactly what I wanted. I think the main thing for me as well, Vlad, was that I thought the addition of this chunky knob here was really kind of noticeable. Yeah. The bracket is called the Godox ADE2, and it's $15 a pop. So not the end of the world then. Okay. Shape the Godox 100 watt, but I don't think it's the same size, so I'm not sure. This is coming from Sam. Sure, the modifiers are interchangeable because they released a lot of modifiers, just like the RS60 they want you to buy. Okay. I don't know. I would be amazed if it is the same. It would be cool if it was the same as some of the other ones, but the no LED range it's kind of its own entity. But I will certainly find out. Yeah. I bet the USB-C on the PS5 is it's fair. Yeah, it's fair. I also had like a converter, right? So it was USB-C to USB. Here you go. Right, and then I plugged that straight into the wall, and that took the same amount of time. So, but you like it's whatever I'm using is certainly not optimal, because I'm sure that's not taking the power properly either. Yeah. I like some of them for using. My V1 8200, they would sell more if they can be used there too. I mean, probably, yeah. I think that is one of the benefits that a lot of these systems have, right? Once you build into their ecosystem, they kind of keep you. So it does kind of make sense for them to have as much crossover as they can. Like Vlad says, we're seeing more and more of these small attachments being the thing. Yeah. The new Godox 8200 Mark II is also a different size compared to the Mark I version, which makes some of the modifiers for the original incompatible with Mark II. That's okay. Okay, cheeky. Yeah. The legal one do switch the new one for both. Okay. USB is limited to 5. For yeah. There you go. Definitely not my forte, Vlad. Yeah. Is it really USB? Is that one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't have the proper cabling, but do it properly using this fella, 2 hours. So job done. Okay. So we spoke about the back. I just want one last thing. Also in the box, they give you 2 massive power cables, like really long power cables, which is absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much for that. So the other thing they do is this little fella, the E27, right? And that just goes into the back of that. Now it does have a little latch there, which you can kind of see. So just to make sure that's in nice and snug. So now you can kind of hang that from the ceiling or whatever, and that will just run off of any kind of light socket. You know what I mean? You just plug it into any lamp. So this is kind of interesting because you could, and I could absolutely use this on set for like a room scene, right? You got a lamp on the table, you pop this in you just screw this into the lamp, right? Screw this fella into the lamp, boom, and then that's kind of shooting up into the ceiling above, and that will give you a beautiful light down, right? So it's bouncing off kind of the ceiling above, and it would come down. I mean, you could barn doors it so it's only hitting the ceiling, or you could use like the globe and that sort of thing. But yeah, having the ability to plug this into kind of a light socket is, I think it's actually kind of cool, and there's plenty of things I could see myself using that for. You see that actually, whilst we're on that note, we got a couple of safety loops there as well if you wanted to get some steel cable and attach that for safety as well, which is a nice touch. As well, also the mounting screw thread there is nice brass as well, so you know that's not going anywhere, so that's good. So that's the back end of it, right? I'm just going to take that off. So it comes with 2 of those as well. Let's pop this fella off. Pop that off and just put the battery back on just for. So the fact that it comes with 2 batteries for each of them in that pack is real nice. But yeah. So this lens here is the moneymaker, in my opinion, and we're going to shoot with it in a second, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. And look, this pack comes with a lot of modifiers, but I was really impressed with whatever they're doing here with the optics, because it's a clever piece of kit. Yeah. Okay, so just briefly then, let's have a look. What apart from this lens? What else have we got here? We got the other kind of major player that I wanted to talk about was this zoom lens here, right? So that just kind of, we turn this and that zooms out, and that goes into a real tight, real clean spot, which we'll look at in a minute once we're all tethered up. Pretty weighty, but it's a juicy piece of glass in there, right? So it's not some plastic crap or anything like that. It's a nice piece of glass in there, and we'll see in a minute when we shoot. But when I was testing it, is a real nice, beautiful drop off into the shadow. So yeah. On the side here we have these kind of locking lugs, and that's for an optional kind of snoot thing. I'll show it to you on the thing, but I don't have that. It's like a Fresnel head thing, but yeah, so that's what that goes onto this. That's what that's for. But yeah, this is a nice piece of kit for sure. So it's that one. So the other kind of part of the system is that it comes with a lot of these kind of brackets, and these are all magnets. So this is like the diffusion dome here, right? So that just goes on there with magnets, and then that just snaps on there, right? So you can then pop that off if you want. So this, you can then use this with all of the other kind of grids that they give you. Okay, so you get a bunch in the box here, Now, I kind of was briefly tested it before I went live here, and you can obviously use them. You can obviously use them just with that regular bracket, right? But I actually found it didn't do a huge amount. So I personally found that the way to use them is definitely with this magic lens. Okay, and then this is all magnets as well, so that just goes on there. So now you can use it with this. Now this now you can do a lot more, and you can really start to see some of the different shapes that this can cast. So this has lots of different spots in terms of sizes, right? Big, small, and then we have a square one as well, which is kind of interesting. So you're actually projecting like a square onto the wall, and then there's a couple of other ones which, you know, there's like, I think they refer to it as a tilt shift one. I think it's just like a slot of light, but yeah, these look, there will be uses for these little things. I just think that if you wanted like a smaller spot, then you want to be using this all day. Like, you know, it's not even close, right? It's not even like this thing, beautiful, and you can really change the size of that. So if I wanted to kind of pare down the size of this into a smaller spot and that sort of thing, then I'd be using this all day, no question. But these things are there if you need it, and the square one was kind of unique. You know, it can work well with those silver reflectors that we spoke about as well. Okay. This also comes with softbox. I made it just before I went live as well, so you can have a softbox that screws into there. And there's like a parabolic. Basically, it's just a round one and a square one. We can have a look in a minute. We can shoot with it and we can see what we think. But it does soften it up, but it's still coming from a very small point. So yeah. So, you know, temper your expectations, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to go over there. What I got, the diffusion cones, yeah, okay. So that's pretty much that. So any other questions on this before I switch off the crotch cam, and we can kind of move on. Yeah, but yeah, this thing, which we'll see in a minute, this thing is where the magic really starts to shine with this little head. As you can see, I don't know how much that weighs, but it's definitely not a kilo with a battery on. Battery's obviously heavier than the power cable, but yeah, pretty good. Okay, right, let's get some of this stayed away. I want to know if both of the locking parts of the bracket are metal. Are you still going on about that bracket, Vlad? This thing, right? This is what you're talking about, right? So there is nothing but metal on this. As brass, you have this kind of hard washer here, and then everything else is like, that's metal. That, like, everything that I can see is metal apart from the handle's even metal as well. Could be. Anyway, yeah. That wheel there is plastic, Vlad. I think everything else is metal. Yeah. That seems super cool, but I was working on brackets the entire week, so I'm so excited about that. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Do they sell the brackets separately? Yes, Danny. Yes. Vlad found them for $15. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's get this switched over then. Get some of this out of the way. Switch this back to scene. Nice. Okay. Right. Put that over there. Gonna need to attach that bracket before we shoot with it. Screw that in. So before we go any further, let me just kind of talk about the different versions of this light, right? Because I said that there was 4 of them. Yeah, I'm just going to put this bracket on, so I can actually put it on the stand. Nice long thread on this as well. So that's just not, it's not going anywhere. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look. So this is the one that we've all just been looking at here, right? This is the MS60R. So this is one with the orange strip, and the R is for color. So this is the single unit, 430. The other one, which is pretty much half the price, but does pretty much everything. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Does pretty much everything that the more expensive one does. But the grey body, 244. So big difference in price, right? Again, full color. Then we have these ones with the yellow strip on them, and these are the bicolor ones, right? So the MS60 bi. So this is only Kelvin. This is no RGB or anything like that. Okay, so this is the expensive one at 332, and then the cheaper one in the grey body, but Kelvin by 189. Okay, so this is all in UK pounds as well. Okay, so there's 4 different ones there. Now look, if you're getting this, if you're interested in this, honestly, just you want to be doing RGB, right? I think that if you weren't, I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice. So many benefits of this light come from the fact that you can do RGB with this. I think if you wanted to be like, yeah, only shoot white light, Jake, you know, I don't know. I think it would be a missed opportunity. Okay, so color it is. Which of these two? Do you really need the expensive one, or can you get away with the cheaper one? So Essential Photo actually did a little comparison chart here, which is kind of cool. Godox Nodal MS60 LEDs versus the Godox RS60 LEDs. Yeah. So down here, just checking the comments. So Vlad is vlogging. Brilliant. Used them on the Neo 3. Mate, I'm making mad cash on those brackets. Love it. I'm not making any money on the brackets, just for clarity. Ordering the brackets as we speak, Jake, you can let Godox know how amazing your influencer campaign was. Thanks, mate. So look, so Essential Photo have put them. We got the MS60, which is the expensive one here, and then the RS60, which is the cheaper one here, right? So everything's the same. Yeah, everything's the same in terms of, you know, the power and specifications here, right? There's the CRIs and the TLCIs and all that sort of stuff. All these systems are the same. Bum. All this. So what don't we have in the cheaper version? So we don't have the gel mode. I just don't think it's needed for what most of us do. Like I said, most of us will be in the HSI, right? Unless you're somebody just like, if I don't get my hands on the Lee 116 and 305, it's just not going to happen, right? Like if you're somebody like that, then this is what you're going to be missing out on. But for most of us, we're going to be playing around with the hue, saturation, and intensity, and that's going to be enough, right? Same goes for here, the XY mode. Again, I've never even used that. I've certainly used gel modes, but I've certainly never used the XY mode. So this is saying that you get the DMX control on this as well, which I didn't actually. You get the DMX, but you don't get the CRMX with this. Okay. So this is kind of like the big one. If you're cinematographer and that sort of stuff, then this is going to be something that you're like, damn, I actually need that because I want to control 40 lights from my desk in the corner, and I want to be able to control all of these seamlessly using CRMX. Then yeah, that's what you're going to be missing out on. But for most of us, not really needed, right? So smooth dimming, I don't actually know what that is. Part of me thought it was that it doesn't go up in 0.1% increments in terms of intensity, but I don't think that's what it is. Again, I think it's to do with the CRMX dimming wise, in terms of when you like turn it off, it has like this. It doesn't, I could be wrong, but I think you can set it to do certain things. Color spaces, again, into the weeds if you need that, and use it. Light numbering. So I guess that would be on the desk, right? You're not gonna be using it. So for the most part, right, this is what you're missing. So for the most part, 99% of us are going to be absolutely fine with this little fella here, right? Wherever it is, this one, yeah, we're not missing out on too much at all. And so this is the kit that I've got here, right? So the 2-head kit comes with all that. You can see, because it's double of everything, right? I didn't even mention the snoots as well. So you've got all that there. And then, again, does it have a picture of the kit? It doesn't, but it's the same thing, just in those ones. So for the 2-light kit there is $660. So manageable, okay? And the 4-light kit, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm kind of tempted looking at what's going on here. I don't know. I'd kind of almost be tempted to get, if I was to do it, it would almost be to get two of the 2-light kits. Yeah, but that's just me. Yeah. So that's giving you a rough idea of what the 4 different lights are, and let me just talk about why I was kind of suspicious of the Kelvin ranges on these. So let's have a look here. So we got color temperature here, 1800 to 10,000 Kelvin of this light, which is what I've got here. I was like, Jesus, that's one hell of a range. I was just that is not typical of LEDs. I was like, okay, this is serious bit of kit. And then I was thinking about it again, and I'm going, well, what is the Kelvin range of this one? $2,800 to 6,500. So this is why I'm suspicious of this, because I think that Godox is potentially using the RGB values to access all the way down to 1800 and then all the way up to 10,000 K, right? Because on the specific bicolor one here, it has a smaller Kelvin range than the RGB one, right? So again, I will try and test it. Like, I'll test like 1800, 10,000, and that sort of stuff. And again, it's probably gonna be fine for most of us. But I will say I was kind of excited when I was seeing this, because I did a shoot last week, and I needed more than the 8,500 Kelvin. I needed to be bluer, so I actually had to double up. I had to get out my old, dust off the old gels and put a CTB on top of that 8,500 Kelvin head to get me up there into the 10,000 plus range. So me kind of reading this, I was like, that's actually super useful for me and the stuff that I do with long exposure and cranking the colors around and that sort of stuff. So interesting. I think we may start to see more of this in RGB lights as well. I don't think this is not Godox. This is just not Godox doing this. And if I'm wrong, I apologize wholeheartedly. It could have a completely different unit in there. But I think it's worth keeping an eye on. Yeah, worth keeping an eye on. The Trump tax will make it $30 or more in the USA. Nice. Oh, that's right. Wasn't it was it AliExpress or no, Temu? I think said, look, we're just not going to do it anymore. Like we're not going to ship to the US. But anyway, won't go into that. Yeah. Like $0.01 if you order through my AliExpress link. Nice, Vlad. Nice. Always hustling. Respect it. Yeah. I need CMRX. That's Steve. If you need it, mate. I get it. Yeah. Can you see the individual LEDs take off as modifiers? No, it's just a cob in there. I can't see anything, Vlad. Yeah, it's good question though. I did look. Yeah. It's kind of glazed over, as it were. Yeah. Very, very small. You might know what you're looking for, but yeah. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. I'm glad I kind of spotted that, because I will be testing that just to see what that super low end and super high end looks like in reality. Is it that Kelvin or not? But it's good. I do kind of like that option, even if it's not going to be 100% color accurate. I can kind of work around it. if you can see them, and you can see what's turning on and off as you move the. That's a good point, actually, Vlad. Yeah, it's. I will say this thing, even at 0.1%, leaves a dent on the back of your brain. It's so bright. Yeah, it's pushing a lot out of a very small space. Yeah. There are my 3 camera slides here. Cable study minutes. Okay. Okay. Like I said, if you guys need it, you need it. Yeah. I wonder if it's. Do you guys know if that's like a patent tax? Because it seems like a lot of money that you're spending between those 2 lights, and part of me was thinking that that's just a patent tax. If you want to use the CRMX thing or whatever it is, CMRX, then Godox has to pay a hefty patent fee. Could be, because the prices are significantly different, right? It's not just like, oh, pay an extra $20 and we'll slip that in the software for you. You know, yeah. Look at it with your eyes, with the camera. Vlad, these are all great suggestions that come in far too late, mate. Right? Okay. So let's see if we can test this out then, shall we? Let's get this phone off here. Let's get this out of the way. All right, disconnect that. Okay. So that phone is disconnected. I can use the app in theory. Drag this out of the way. Okay, so let's see if we can get the phone mirrored here a minute. I can turn off this lamp that was lighting the. Liking the light. Okay, let's see if I can get the app going. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is the okay, yeah, this is the setup that I was using for the bathroom setup on Friday. Actually tempted to come out of that again and see if it finds it. Connection failed, make sure it's turned on. Okay, so none of the lights are turned on. Okay, so let's just turn this on. Oh, she found it instantly. Damn. Okay. So you can see it there. Yeah, found it instantly. Okay. All right. So we click in here. Off we go. Boom. So look, I mean, you just saw me turn that light on, and then it was there within seconds. Yeah. You got all this here as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So that's simple enough. Yeah, power down there. Boom. Okay, so let's get this on the stand over there. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. Okay. That's a cool feature. Actually, you can just turn it off regardless. You don't have to take it down to 0. Okay. So you've got a couple of examples here. Oh, it does go down to 18. Yeah. I mean, that is very orange. Yeah. It does go up to 10. Okay. Okay. Let's whack it in the middle then, because that's probably where most of the power is going to be, right? What I want to do is I want to show you what this light looks like without any attachment on it at all. So this is just a bare cob straight at the wall back there. We're about 2.5 meters out. Okay. So let's turn the camera on. I really should find out where they're going. Okay. So in theory, it should find the D800 eventually, right? Oh, it's got it. There we go. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, let's not have the Kelvin at 2500. So let's take the Kelvin up to what, 56 on the camera here. Let's put the. Let's go 2.8 on this lens, is lowest I can go. Let's do a 60th ISO 100, 2.8 Kelvin. Yeah, Kelvin of 5500, 5600. Okay. Take the lens cap off like a pro. So I'm expecting this to be very dark. Oh, it's actually not as bad as I thought. Okay, so as you can see there, that's with... Is it at full power? Did I have it cranked to full power? No, not even remotely. Glad I checked. Let's try that again. Okay, so that's pretty warm. Camera set to 55, 56. That's definitely set to 56. Okay. Pretty warm, 56. Anyway, so that's that. As we can see, it's actually brighter than I thought it was going to be. So let's now put that magic lens on. Now this vignetting here is coming from the Nikon filter I have attached. I'm being facetious. I just mean that the lens is filtering it. So that this light goes up. Just to show you, this light goes all the way up, right? So it's not creating a pool. Like, this light is going pretty much 2 feet in front of this light, and it's lighting the ceiling. So this light is going everywhere, as you'd expect, right? So if you just wanted blanket light everywhere, just take everything off, actually does a very good job of that. Now what we're going to do, I want to put on this fella here. Now this thing is really gonna change the game. You know, the fan noise is it's noticeable. It's definitely noticeable. Granted, I'm at full power here, but it's definitely noticeable. And in fact, it's not hot here in the UK at the moment. Even just turning that light on, Vlad, and you can have the dim set to 0%, the fan will still be on. So I don't know. That's a lot of the other lights I've used, that doesn't happen, but this is a very small one packed into a very small space. So yeah, so it seems like the fan is always on. Too much from newer lumen ready. As the fan noise, we're going to hear it through the mic. You can hear it through the mic. Jesus, yeah, there you go. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So as you may well imagine, that lens is really focused, right? So this is really going to juice it up. So bearing in mind, I haven't changed the power of the light in any way, right? Remember that. So, and I see a lot of photographers referring to it as increasing the power, right? That is, or it's increasing the brightness. Or yeah, just increase. You got to be careful with that. It's not doing any of that. All it's doing is channeling that power into one area, right? So it's not increasing the power. It's all it was doing is channeling that power. So so with the, so it is still a spot there, and it's 2.5 meters, right? So let's bring that up. Let's keep it consistent. Let's just keep it at f stops, right? So let's take it up. What, 5.6, 2 stops. Maybe another one, maybe 3 stops. It's kind of getting there. It could well be 2.5. So we're up to f8 now. So we kind of, yeah. So it is pretty much, it's pretty much 3 stops there. Yeah. So 2.8, f4, f5.6, f8. So 3 stops. So it is, you know, like I said before, without the modifier on, you know, it's lighting everything in this room pretty much 2 feet in front of it, and it's lighting the ceiling above. Put that lens on, and it just crams all that power into that spot there. And you can see that there. It is definitely a defined spot, but it's 3 stops brighter. Okay. Very crisp noise. Shadow there, which is good. Okay, let's try. I want to try this fancy kind of lens thing here. All right, I just wanted to show you that. So that zoom lens that I put on that line now is, as I said, you can spin it and it kind of makes the spot bigger and smaller, right? So this is as bigger, it's as wide as it goes now. Okay. To see the brightness of that, remember we're at, okay, so it's nowhere near as bright, well, not nowhere near, but let's bring it down a stop. So 5.6. ISO 100, 60th of a second. Kind of there. This is f4 now, channeling an extra stop and a half of light out of it. So, and we can see the edge of the frame there. This is at its widest point. We're at 2.5 meters here. We can see that we're still getting the shadows in here. This is not the Nikon lens, but you can kind of see how much cleaner that is. Where are we back here? It's a very, so this is, this was the original lens on the front of that. And when I'm talking about cleanliness of light or something similar, I'm talking about like the hot spots. We can immediately see that this immediately starts to get darker, right? So from the center, it immediately starts to fade off. Whereas here with this lens, it's kind of just starts to get darker out here. So we have this nice, beautiful pool of light in the middle that's pretty consistent. Okay, that's kind of why I was pretty impressed by this. Let's zoom it all the way in. Let's see what we get then. This is a pretty tight spot now. So obviously it's going to be brighter. Yeah, so we need to, but you can see the size of the spot. So let's go 5.6. I think it's going to be 2 stops, but let's do it anyway. Something like that. So again, a beautiful kind of feathering, a beautiful kind of fade off with this pool of light. So I was really impressed by this. Yeah, I was really impressed by this little thing, this little lens here. Like I said, you can focus it and not focus it. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Really good. Yeah. Was there anything else that anybody sort of was dying to look at? I kind of have a look at the. We can look at the softbox. Well, softbox is a slight exaggeration. The mini dome. So I actually used this on Friday. This dome. It's pretty nice. Damn, it takes a lot of power away, right? Let's put that down to 2.8. Okay, so this is now darker than when I didn't have anything on it. So whereas before it was going everywhere, and we had, you know, and then we like focused it down. So now we're using this. That's still not bright enough. So ISO 200, 60th f2.8. No, yeah, 2.8. Okay. So this is the diffusion dome. So we can see shadow is a little bit fuzzy there. Yeah, a little bit fuzzy there. But if we compare it to that, what on earth is this shit? It's not softening it up too much, right? But it is kind of just taking that edge off. Okay. Let's have a look. So we got these stacks of filters here. I just want to show you the square one, which I thought was kind of interesting. And again, I really think you need to be using these filters with the lens. You probably can't see this actually because it's pretty spread out, but like. That's going to be super bright, but I need to bring that up again. Let's take the ISO down to 100 and then 5.6. So you can see the square there now, right? Which is kind of clever, yeah. Which is like kind of clever. Now you could use barn doors with this as well. There is barn doors in here as well. So you could really channel it in even more if you wanted, but I thought the square one was pretty interesting. We'll just do one more, and that's the actual softbox. This is it's a snug fit. One thing that's nice about that softbox is the speed ring actually has so you can't see that, but that's taken away a lot of juice. Let's have a look. Let's take that down. So back to ISO 100, 60th at 2.8. It's going to be pretty dark. Yeah. Let's take the ISO up to 200. Probably not going to be enough. I'm kind of getting there. Let's just go 400. Somewhere in between the two, right? Somewhere in between the two. Okay, so this is the ISO 200, but we can see here, so the softbox is really giving us that edge now, that edge transition, but it's still coming from a small point of light, right? So it's still going to be, it's not going to be super soft, but certainly softer than, you know, like these. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Any questions on any of that? Yeah, okay. I don't think there was anything else I was going to show you in terms of modifiers, but key ones for me are going to be that lens on the front, super useful, right? I mean, you can really send that light downrange exactly where you want it. Pretty streams lagging. It might be to do with Lightroom as well. Yeah, I'll close it out in a second. Thanks, bud. Yeah, that lens that goes on the front, I think really impressive. Yeah, really impressive. That's got the filter on it, but and then the other big lens. So the baby lens the other big lens, and then the diffusion thing here is going to cover most things. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's come back to this. Nice. Okay, right. So what's this unit like then? Actually using it in reality. And like I said, I had a shoot on Friday. Got these lights like late on Thursday, something like that. So I kind of tested them on the fly. But I was shooting in a very small bathroom, right? Very small bathroom, and I thought these would be perfect to be actually be able to see it, to see what they could do, how much can they spread the light in that area, and that sort of thing. So let's just kind of talk about that a second. I'm going to see if we can load up the 3D. Yeah. See if we can load this up. So this is kind of funny. So I measured the bathroom before the shoot, and I used a laser measure, like a laser pointer, right? You hold it at the wall, and then it fires off, and that you get the measurement back from the laser. Now, unbeknownst to me, that laser was not reading them at all. I presume it was because of the shiny, of the shiny tiles, right? So it just wasn't working. So the measurements were way off, absolutely way off. So this is kind of what I was working with in my mind, right? Because the measurements were all off, and I was like, oh damn it. So I was just like, okay, I'll just sketch it out, and yeah. And then I measured it when I was there. This is the space, right? I don't know, in my brain I was thinking, Jesus, man, like bathrooms are bigger than that, it's fine, should be a-okay, but yeah, good lord, I was way overestimated it. I mean, because this is typical, right, of a bathroom there. Now let's break down this setup. So we've got one of the MS60s here with the little diffusion dome on it, pointed into the ceiling above, right? We've got another one here, another MS60 here, with just the lens on it. And then this light here, this tube, is the Godox string of numbers and letters. So there's two of these, right? So I've got two of these in a pack, right? And because they are a string of numbers and letters, I have no idea what they're called. But so that's what's up there is those two, and then two MS60s. Okay. Now, all of which was controlled via the app on the day as well. So let's kind of look at I have a video. Yeah, this is the video of the set. So we can see we got the one pointed up there behind me, then we've got another one up here, and then we have the two tubes connected behind as well, right? So blacked out the window here, then we have the MS60 fired up into the ceiling behind me. There's actually a shower curtain here, because remember the bath is there, right? So the bath is there, so it's kind of pointed up into that kind of shower curtain behind me. Then I got a C-stand tucked in down by the toilet there, and then attached to that C-stand is both of those lights. So we've got the tube, and then we have this one here. So what is actually going on here? What is this light doing? So really what this light is doing is pretty much creating flare into the lens. If that's pointed at me, this light here is pointed at me with the camera. And because it's got that lens on it, that beautiful lens that gives you a very focused pool of light, even in that small area like that, a tiny, tiny space, able to get some kind of glowy effects in the room here. Okay, so I should get this in here. Here we go. Space there. So yeah, that's that there. Danny says, what program am I using? This is called Satellite 3D. Yeah. Satellite 3D. Yeah. It's not that expensive, Danny. Yeah. It's for continuous lights. You've got panels and tubes and that sort of stuff, and different panels, but it doesn't have like the rotor lights and that sort of thing. So for me, with the rotor lights, you can't see it at the bottom of the screen there, my bad. But yeah, so it doesn't have rotor lights or anything like that, but it does have some of the arrays. You can kind of use this instead of the EOS, for example. And you've got the apertures here, which are just your regular cob lights. You got your tube lights, which is what I'm using there instead of the Godox one that I've got. And you just got a bunch of modifiers for the speed lights, and then a ton for the flash. Yeah, so it's got a bunch. Yeah, it's got a bunch. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. So what are we doing here? One thing I was kind of really interested with these was the colors. Right, and what I'm trying to do here with the colors, I've always been fascinated by this kind of greeny yellow hue with skin. And there was kind of there's an old film by Tony Scott called Domino, and it has that's shot on film, and it's really rich greens and yellows on the skin in that, which works really well. I've always kind of been interested by it, right, in trying to emulate it, and that's kind of what I was doing here. So let's look at the kind of the results here a second. But before I do that, I want to show you one thing here. So you can render out these shots, right? So you can focus it there, boom, and then once you're happy with this, you can take a shot, and it appears down here at the bottom here. You can't see it, and we can come into view here, and then we can kind of render this shot here. So you can render it out, and then you can then save that image, right? So a single shot of that, and just export that, and we can put it in here. Stream test. Okay, so just save that. Let's see. There it is. Oh, thank you, Steve. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. So now what we can do, which is kind of interesting, is we can come over here, right? And let's have a look. Where's my Adobe window? Here. So then you can upload it and enhance it, which is kind of interesting. So this is what I use to send to the model, right? So we can come in here. Let me just refresh this. So we can come in here and upload that image we just made. What stream test? Boom. And we can kind of crank it around a little bit, and then up up-res it, as it were, from that 3D software. So this is Creo AI enhancer, and like they have this one here, which is, it just came out last week, which is the modern version of it. And this software is designed to upscale small JPEGs, right? That's like, to my knowledge, this is what this software is for. Is designed to, upscale their low resolution files, right? Whereas I'm kind of using it here as a way to kind of render or give some detail back to these low quality renders, as it were, and it kind of works for the most part. But this newer one, the Creo Enhance does less AI and kind of and just gives you more pixels, as it were, but it's not as useful for this 3D render, which I don't think is as good. So if you're going to use it, just come in and use the legacy one down here at the bottom. Yeah. So just something to play with. Yeah. And I've just sent these out to the model just so that they get an idea of kind of what going from a day, kind of useful for that. It's probably because I'm using the AI software. Jamie, I assume you're referring to the laggy streams. Probably because I'm using all that crap. Yeah. But yeah, so kind of a useful tool. Render it out from here, and then off you go. Yeah. Right. So let's close that out. And let's kind of look at some of the results. Yeah. Anybody got any questions on the setup at all, and what, like anything that I was doing or using or anything like that, and let me know. Let me just find the shoot. Where would it be? Here we go. Okay. So let's just filter out any oily bums. I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah, this is kind of where we ended up with the shots, right? So you can see the Godox tube up there, and we're getting this kind of flare into the lens here as well from that RS. And then this is the Petzval lens. We can really see this heavy chromatic. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you. Heavy distortions there from this lens. Yeah. So again, here we can see this Petzval lens creating these artifacts that I was kind of playing with. It kind of suits the very kind of grungy aesthetic that I was going for with the yellows and greens. But I really wanted to get into the contrast of this. Like the idea of the shoot was to try and get into some of that rich, deep contrast and kind of dig out the colors along with it, so we can see it here. So I kind of hated it at first. I'm like, oh no, I'm getting the lights in. I think I might just Photoshop this gap out, this black gap out, and then just leave it in. I think it kind of works because the reflection as well is kind of cool. But yeah, we can really, and again, right, because I'm shooting at what, 125th, probably, yeah, 125th. So it's going to be a little bit of life in it. It's not going to be perfectly sharp, which I'm fine with. Yeah, but I love these colors and how I was able to kind of crank it out in the end. So this kind of brings us back to, we got Steve there. If the lights hadn't arrived, would the shot have occurred with different lights? If so, which ones? So yeah, okay. Let's kind of talk about that and this shot as well. In one of the questions I'm kind of thinking about asking is, who is this light for? Like, what is it really offering? Like, what is its unique kind of selling point? And look, I think for me, what was happening with these lights on the day was unique to the RGB style of lights that we're using right now. So let me just come back to this here. So let me just come in here a second. So when I was working this shoot out, you saw I had the 3D diagram up there, and I was playing around with the colors, right? And I'm playing around with the colors and trying to work out what colors are going to work in that 3D software in Satellite 3D there. And you've got the whole spectrum. You can move the lights wherever you want, right? So what it does is it spits out a HSI value, right? And I think it might give you a hex code, but you have to put the hex code into Photoshop, and then from Photoshop you can extract the HSI code, right? Which is, I mean, the intensity is fine. We can change that on the day. What I was really kind of interested in was this value here, right? These values here is what I'm interested in, which is the hue 95, okay, fine, and then the saturation 26%. This is kind of what makes RGB lighting for me, LED RGB lighting for me, very kind of unique, right? You have millions of colors that you can really kind of dial in and tweak. And this is not going to be for everybody, right? I get it. People just want to use the gels. Now I want to use my 116. I've always used that. That's what I'm using. Boom, fine. But for me, I was trying to dial in specific colors, and thankfully that 3D software kind of is enabling me to do that. It gives me that hex value, put that hex value into Photoshop, and then it spits out a color that I can then input directly into the light, right? And these are the two colors I was using. So the green here is what's being shone onto her, and the blue is what was being shone into the white curtain behind me, or the white wall behind me, right? So this is now acting as the kind of fill light, and then this green is on the skin. But these colors are, I forget what the other one was, what the blue was, but which is set on the other light. But again, it'll be another value of I don't know, it's certainly a saturation value of a lower percent, and you're just not going to do that with gels. Like at most of us have, I'm just going to turn this one on here so that I can access it here. So this is the blue, right? So this is the blue I was using. So 184 and 38%, right? So you're really able to dial in exactly the colors that you want, which gels, I mean, you could have 100 gels and be like, holy shit, I've got all the colors I need, but it's still not going to have as much adaptability here as when we start to get in to these hue and saturation values. And look, most people never touch the saturation value, right? They're just cranking it to 100 and then cool, off we go, right? And that's fine, but I think that when we want to be getting into kind of more of the cinematic style looks, which are kind of a little bit more organic rather than just gelled lighting, that's where like the power of these RGB LED lights are really coming into their own. So for me, that was really apparent as like this is something special. I'm able to achieve these colors that are just not possible previously with my gels. And to Steve's point here, the lights hadn't arrived with a shot of a curve of different lights and which ones. So I don't think I would have used the flare light, Steve. So the one that's kind of fired up into the wall behind me, I could have done that with a Neo, right? I could have fired that like a Neo up there into the wall behind me. Those of you who don't know where is a rotor light, it's a little light that goes on a stand, right? And I could have hung that up there. I probably would have had to have another stand because it's still far bigger than these. I probably would have had to put it up higher on a different stand maybe, but which would have been a pain in the ass. This one was able to go on the same stand without any issue, which was super useful. But the one above her, yeah, sorry, I'm thinking about the one behind me would have been fine, but I couldn't have used a Neo on the stand firing into my lens, just because it doesn't have that. It's not focused, right? So I do think these lights having some of these lenses and that sort of stuff now, yes, I do think that was doing something unique, because this strip here isn't going to flare. I could have put a Neo there. That's not going to flare into the lens. So, like, would the shot have been similar? Yeah, the shot would have been similar. It just wouldn't have had as much of this glow coming in. Because this glow is all hitting. I've probably got like a low contrast filter on here, or a pro mist or something like that, and I'm just firing it into that filter, and that's what's creating this glow at the top here, which is what I really wanted. So I do think that these very small lights were excellent in a very small space. You saw the space that I was working in; it's absolutely minuscule. Really pleased with how they turned out. I do want to test them on the skin, because obviously here you can see in the shots, not really lighting the skin. The tube is lighting the skin here beautifully, but I'm not really getting any light on her from it. All the light on this side is coming from the light bounced into the wall behind me, and that's what's giving us this bluey color over here on this side in the shadow area, because without that light bounced into the shower curtain, there's not going to be any light on this side of her. Remember that all the light is on this side. So really happy with how these turned out. Like loving these cranked colors. They look good. I mean, this is in Lightroom. I haven't even taken them into Photoshop yet, so I'll probably work on the skin and that sort of stuff, but pretty happy with where they ended up, to be fair. Yeah, really good. Before we kind of wrap this up, any final questions on any of this? I probably will do like a cut of this for YouTube in terms of a separate video for these lights. But if anybody's got any questions on the lights or the shoot or the setup or any of the kit that I've used and spoken about here, let me know. So will they become part of your permanent kit list? Good question, Steve. Good question. Yeah, I think they have. I think they have a place. I think they are offering something unique, and I've kind of mentioned this before in the past about LEDs. I think strobes. I use strobes for like nearly 20 years. So look, I've used them a lot, and I do think strobes are a great jack of all trades. They have this single point of light that spreads light everywhere, and you can put a bunch of different modifiers on it, right? Hundreds, thousands of different modifiers on it. But those lights are not the masters of one specific light. So, like using some of the panels that I've used over the years, it's an incredibly beautiful light, like truly remarkable, beautiful light, like the ones at Panelux, massive light. But it's really good at that one thing. Tubes, right? If anybody's used LED tubes, come on, it's easy mode, right? It's beautiful light, very, very easy to use. Put them anywhere. Fabulous bead of light on your models. I mean, it's just here, right? It's not rocket science. I just clamped a tube up there, and off we go. Not difficult. But they only do that one look. I can't refine that in any way. I can only do that one look. And I think that like the Roguelite panel, it's a big panel like that, beautiful. I love using that as a key light. It's my LED beauty dish, as it were. Beautiful key light, but it's really, really good at that one thing. I can't turn it into a hard light. So I'm kind of finding that with LEDs, you kind of need a bunch of different pieces of kit. And it's not gonna be for everybody. Like that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. If stick to your kind of S-fits and just buy modifiers that are cheaper, and you'll be absolutely fine. Most people do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But as I've been using LEDs over the last 2 years now, nearly, I've really noticed a difference in the kind of quality that you're able to do, able to achieve. And it's interesting. This kind of shot wouldn't have been possible with flash. Like I have to use that tube there, which is again like it's a good example of being a master of one thing. So will they stay in the kit for certain things? Small spaces, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like in small spaces, this is wild, and it's all in the size of a large shoebox. Years ago that would have been a car boot full of kit, and now you have that in a shoebox. I do a bunch of mentoring with people online, and a lot of photographers. I'm sure the bunch of photographers in here that maybe work in hotel rooms like Airbnbs, home studio, right? Where maybe you're renting out a hotel room with a model, in a different city or whatever. How easy is that to jump on the plane with all that lighting kit, and then start creating in a small room in a hotel or Airbnb and that sort of thing. I just think it's wild how far that's come. So yeah, if you were somebody doing that, yeah, definitely, yeah, super lightweight, loads of kit, very very easy, super modular, yeah. Small rooms is really where it's going to shine, yeah. And do you still have the nan lights? Yes. So again, nan lights, so the one the main one that I use is the S-Fit Cob light there. And if you need juice, man, if you need juice, then if you need a lot of power, then boom, that's what you turn to. They sent me a panel which I also tested, and we can talk about that on a different day. But I will just say that it speaks very, very strongly to the point I've just made about being. So yeah, I'll save that for another day. We can kind of dig into the panel on a different stream, but I think it does speak to the fact that if you have the ability for these pieces of kit, in terms of finances, then I'd be surprised if you don't notice a difference. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can you use your sway and ask them to include flash with LEDs? Hard to cough up dollars for LED that use Rhodolite. Yeah, so I mean, Godox tested it, didn't they? Godox brought out a couple of lights with flash. It was only in white light. They've never. So Rhodolite still are the only company in the world that flashes in full RGB. So it makes me think, Danny, that is it a patent thing? Because I've spoken to other companies in the past, and it is just a software thing, right? There's no specialist piece of kit in there, to my knowledge. I don't have any insider knowledge on it, but it's seemingly just a software thing. You can just tell the LEDs to flash for a certain period of time, right? I mean, you're just telling it to turn on and off for a short space of time. That's what an LED flash is. So it's making me think, Danny, that it might be a patent thing. Who knows? I don't know any more than that. I promise you, there's no insider knowledge there. I'm just curious as to why more LEDs don't have the ability to flash. Yeah. All right, then. I think that covers the MS60L. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but I'm going to put together a review anyway. I appreciate the questions that you guys have fired at me. I think that's useful. I will include those and try and cover those. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Take a look, and thank you to Godox for sending it to me via Essential Photo. So Yang at Essential Photo, thank you for sending that out at such short notice as well. I think I've only got a higher kit here because the other ones are sold out. So yeah, appreciate that. Okay, so let's have a look at what you guys have been working on. Let's see back here. Not that one. That one? No. There we go. Yeah, thanks for that. Thank you. I wonder if it's the phone tethering. It could be the phone tethering, right? Yeah, because I think we've streamed Lightroom before and it's been okay. But yeah, good shout, good shout. Hopefully that settles down a bit. Okay. If it doesn't, then let me know, because I am curious if that fixes it. Okay, so let's have a look here. We got these comments. So if you're not aware, every live stream we kind of go through and look at the images you guys have been working on, and just get you guys to pop them in here in my Facebook page in the share a shoot post, which is this one here, and then we just kind of go through. If there's any kind of feedback that we think would be relevant, then I mention it. Specifically though, it's most of it is kind of personal opinion, right? So it's not like, well, you need to be doing this, otherwise you're doing it wrong. A lot of the feedback I'm doing is going to be personal opinion. Right, let's turn these fellas off. Ooh, those fans, jeez. Yeah, you definitely notice those fans. Yeah. I mean, it could be Vlad. It could be. I will say that I pay a huge amount of money to have a business line here, and like the download and upload is exceedingly fast. So I don't know what it is, or why it's happening. Could just be streaming on a Mac. I think is probably the biggest issue, if I'm being honest. Okay. Oh, nice, Jamie. I'm glad you shared that one. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Good stuff. So yeah, if you've joined and you want to take part, and you want to share an image, you can do. Just pop it in here, and we can take a look. So Vlad says, been spending my time designing 3D printable GoPro and phone mounts for the studios. All I have is product photo. Looking forward to seeing these tiny godot lines. Nice, yeah. I did. It is funny that I saw this and I was setting up this crotch cam, and I was like, damn, would have been useful to have that right angle. Okay, nice. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so the one that I'm using here, yeah, it's kind of similar thing, but the ability for that to work with the GoPro is nice. Yeah. How did you find product shots? Do you hate it, or is it like it's just something that I need to do, or are you like, it's kind of therapeutic and relaxing? I'm not worrying about somebody else talking to me or anything like that. Yeah. Because I'm kind of in two minds with still life. When I've done like still life before, you can just be tinkering away, moving this, adjusting that, and then you look at the clock and it's been like 3 hours. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. This is a direct upgrade to what you have, as I mounted the spigot and not the tripod screw. Oh. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, good point, man. Yeah. I mean, that would make it a lot stronger, right, as well, rather than just being teetering on the edge. Good point. I didn't notice that. Well done, Vlad. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Jimmy, you weren't going to share this. What the fuck? So Jimmy says here, 4-strobe setup, 2 in a clamshell arrangement, then 2 more in strip boxes from the edge light. But in turn, let me start again. 2 lights, 2 in a clamshell. So what? Top and bottom. So I guess we got highlight here. So key and fill, and then 2 more strip boxes for the edge light. Which we got. So we got the edge lights here, but in turn facing into 2 reflectors to bounce more light onto the material. Okay. So is this kind of slightly grey area here, is that the reflectors? Whatever you're doing, man, it's really impressive. It really works really well. So is this the... because obviously we got the strip light here, which is looking beautiful. And then, like, is this area like the reflectors? That's kind of cool, man. If that's what that is, you've done well with that. That is difficult. That is difficult. Yeah, you've done really well with that. I think I can see these reflectors here. I kind of like that as a kind of way to gradiate the light. That's kind of cool, man. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. And look, I think you've gone the only way that you could have done with that color as well. I think it would have been a shame to turn this black and white, but I think you've gone the only way you can with the color in this. I think it's cool, man. I think it's really good. Yeah. You've done, just a nice little bit at the top here to make sure we can see the top. Yeah, good stuff, Jamie. As always, man. Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, super clean. I know the retouching on that took ages, man. Yeah, good stuff. Just because I know we were chatting at the start, I don't know whether you're still here, Jamie, but at the start of the stream, I know you were kind of hesitant about it. I mean, I'm just curious as to what you were hesitant about that you're not 100% on. Well, this is a nice one here from Lennart. We got a highlight. Okay. Basically a 2x2. 2x2 softbox is a great tool, albeit not always an easy one. I wanted to get a really punchy pink that wraps around the subject. Okay. What do you mean that wraps around the subject? So I had to place my model rather close to the light source. Yeah. That's why the teal key lights pretty much had to be gridded to beauty dish so I wouldn't wash out the background too. Yeah. Too much, and it gave me great shadows in her body that could partially be filled with pink again. Lastly, the outfit was thrown together: pink bikini, recent Barbie shoot, and my own jeans I'd torn up in the garage for half an hour. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Doesn't Peter Coulson do that? The black and white guy. Doesn't he have a bunch of like really kind of shredded jeans and stuff? That I've seen him using. I mean, it is effective in terms of texture and catching the light and that sort of stuff without being dominating. Yeah, it works. It works well. Yeah. If you haven't seen him using those torn jeans, yeah, it definitely is bad because I knew you were going to say it, man. I knew you were going to say it. It works, man. It works. Yeah, right. Absolutely. So to your point here, we got the 2x2 meter softbox, a big old softbox, and I'm guessing you just kind of had to extend it a little bit, but you are right, yeah, in that you have to have it close for it to wrap around. Now, the downside of what you're doing there is that we have this kind of bright part in the middle, which is really difficult to avoid with softboxes. Yeah. One thing, because I think this bright part is kind of losing the pink, right? So one thing that I kind of do in this situation is, this is the wall. I'll kind of have a scrim here, which, I mean, I'm fortunate that I do have like a 2x2 scrim. I think it might be even like 2.5 by 2. Anyway, large scrim, right? Which is, if you don't know, it's just a large panel with a diffusion material on it. And then I actually use a smaller light bounced into a white background, which means that because you don't see the light here because it's just being surrounded by the pink, but what you end up with is tons of pink light being spread around back here in this kind of channel, right? And then it coming through more evenly from this scrim. That negates this nasty hotspot. Again, like anybody who's been watching for a long time knows that I hate softboxes, and this is yet another reason why. So it's a really popular technique to have that softbox behind the model, but this is what you come up against. And it's fine with white light, because if you're doing this with white light, nobody would care, right? It would be white here, it would be white here, it would be white here. White is white. It doesn't get any whiter, all right? So it's just not noticeable when you see people shooting black and white silhouettes and they put a softbox behind. Boom, job done. nobody cares. But when we're using color, we can't get away with it because that color is going to fade off. And as that softbox is giving us less light out here, it's where some of that color is starting to come in. So this kind of negates that issue and just gives you more of an even spread. Hey, the product is always too small, and I need to set a tripod and shoot FA or something in 3D. You hate still life, yeah, man. It is. It's not. Yeah, it is a pain, and because I'm pretty sure you're the same as well. But I know that I'm fastidious. If I see like something slightly out of place, I can't just it'll be alright. Nobody will notice it. I have to move it. So you just end up tweaking in there with the tweezers, removing a stray dog hair or something like that. Yeah, it just takes forever. Yeah. Product's always too small. I need to set a tripod about FA or something. 3D printed parts always look bad because the layer lines. As true as that as well. Yeah, legit think that this looks better than with the hotspot than the flat pink background. Okay, there you go. See, personal preference. Yeah, nobody's saying that you're wrong. But yeah, yeah, you always get the hotspot for gradient, which is the highlight, which I'm using color. We'll try and scrim. Look, just try it. Yeah, just try it. Yeah. Vlad loves a hotspot. Yeah, he loves it. But yeah, that is right. It is personal preference here, and at least with the hotspot here, you have this kind of gradient. I'm just not like a fan of this kind of blown out data here in the hair, which is what's happening because it's so bright here. If we were able to have more of an even spread of light, we would be able to get more data back here in the hair. Yeah. But if it's still light, as you shoot with the small sensor, my 1-inch vlog camera is much better at it. Okay. But great stuff, man. And really nice blue light here, by the way. Beautiful, nice highlights. Really nice shape and definition. A lot of people would have been tempted to overpower that, but yeah, good job. Darius coming in late again. Love to see it. I don't like 4:5 Instagram ratio, but need to crop for Instagram too. Oh my god, you're not shooting for Instagram only now, Darius. So you come on. You have one of my latest shoots with the impact from neon colors. What do you think about it? Yeah, really cool. Is this using the Darius? Are you in here? Is this using the technique where you have the black wrap behind, and then you have the light creeping around the outside? So those of you that don't know, we're using a softbox like this, and you have a black board or black velvet, which is what I use, and you have the model here facing you here. What happens is that light creeps around the edges and also the top, so you leave a gap at the top, right? So the light creeps around there, and then this is how you end up with this bead of light all the way around, and it's just one light. Now, Darius has obviously done a nice job of bringing in a light in the front here, but it's an effective setup for sure. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What's going on with the skin here? We seem to have some funky like colors and stuff here, Darius. We're getting these muddy colors. Yeah. And then we're starting to get color breakup here on the chest as well. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, really nicely done. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for sharing this last minute. Always a pleasure to see your stuff. Not light painting this week as well. Okay, Chris, I see you. A throwaway set at the end of a shoot as I had an extra 20 minutes. Okay. The studio owner had this floaty dress, that's nice, which was used in the Game of Thrones TV series. So I've experimented unplanned with some motion blur, and I haven't done that for a while. Forgot my blackness filter, shot the model's black stocking over the 85mm lens, now known as the black stocking filter. Pretty effective, man. Yeah, pretty effective. Yeah, okay. Yeah, more so than I thought. Yeah. To create the soft and diffused effect using a Rotolight Neo behind the model. Okay, they've got this nice orange glow here, and then 2 AOS to the sides. So we've definitely got a blue here, and I presume we got another one over here on this side, lighting this one, not blue. All on constant EOS key light, and another below the model. Oh, okay, so it is on this one, yeah. Okay, so this has a lot of lights then, Chris, right? Yes. You missed a lot, Jamie. I will recap your image in a moment. There's a lot of lights, Chris. Okay, so is it 5 lights there? You said you got, I mean, beautifully done here on the subject's face. I was looking at whether it was movement on the face or whether it was the filter, or the stocking. But yeah, whenever I'm doing a shot of this, and I know this was like a kind of a play session at the end, whenever I'm doing a shot of this, I always make sure the flashes are off and take a picture and see how much light, how much ambient light is on them. More is more, yeah, true, yeah. You never have enough. But I kind of see how much ambient light is on the face, so like just either turn the trigger off or remove the trigger from the hot shoe and take a picture, with your long exposure settings. And then if the face is still lit up, that means that there's going to be movement on the face. So I don't know, Chris. Yeah, 5 lights. Yeah. So I think it could just be the stocking, to be fair. Yeah. I like it, man. Yeah, I like it. That's good. Yeah. Definitely need that Neo on the wall behind. I think that she would have been lost in that dark background without it. So I think that was a smart move. Yeah. So this is constant here. We got constant down here. Used a rotor light Neo behind the model. 2 EOS to the sides, all on constant. So the blue is definitely constant. EOS key light and another below the model. So I definitely feel like we're getting movement here from a constant this side, and then what we have it's flashed on her here. Is it flashed down here as well, Chris? Is it flashed on the floor below the model to fill in the shadows? Yeah. So I think this is flashed on the floor. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I think it works. I think it works. At first I was like, flashing on the fill light, but I think it works. I think it works to give you, because it's less important on if there's overlap on the fill light. Like, it's less important if this is being overlapped by the movement. In fact, I think that probably adds to it. Yeah, this is great, man. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. Anything that you would do differently next time, Chris? Are you looking at this going, oh, if only I'd done this or done that, or that didn't turn out, or... Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough to know with these long exposures as to, like, the pose. I think the dress is kind of... I can definitely see the dress here. What was the exposure? Half a second, a second, 2 seconds? It's probably pretty short, right? I'd be amazed if it was a second, but I could be wrong. Oh, you said it here. 20... so a quarter of a second, sorry. Okay, so very short then. Okay. Did you do any more where you had longer exposures? Like, so I mean, so to go to half a second would have been 1 stop. Whole second would have been 2 more stops. Yeah. Remove the body. Remove it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always kind of spineless when it comes to these filters and that sort of stuff, is because I'll always shoot both, tons of both, right? And then I kind of choose afterwards, because sometimes I do bottle it, but yeah, I always shoot tons of both. Yeah. Longer was too blurry. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I think it works. And you kind of know that I've spoken about this on here before. I've shot at 30th. I know Vlad has kind of mentioned that as well. But 30th of a second, and just allowing some of that movement to come in. I mean, that's the other thing with LEDs. And you saw in that shoot in the bathroom a minute ago, there was definitely movement on her. Shooting 125th, but zoomed in. I'm not getting any younger. It's definitely movement there. I'm not against it at all. I kind of like it. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, 'cause long exposure is always difficult to do. Yeah. This is nice, Nico. Yeah, simple 3-light setup, some smoke, nothing special. Oh, come on, nothing special. I just this whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, took this on my phone. This is good, Nico. This is really good. Yeah, great pose. This is a great model. So hats off to her. But yeah, beautiful pose. Loving this. Good stuff, man. Smoke is, I think, is good here. I think that this is more, for me, this is more haze than smoke. Like smoke is very 3D and billowy, and this is perfect. Yeah, this haze where we get these beams of light, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, beautifully done, Nico. Like in the kind of color fill here, I'm only gonna give you shit about being overexposed on the key here a little bit, and it's kind of difficult because of the pose, and she's moving around, and she's moving backwards and forwards, and all, like I get it, but I would be tempted in the raw to kind of knock this back just a tiny bit here on the jawline here, right? Because I think this is fine. Like this is fine. We just take this hotness down here, and then maybe a touch off there, just because we want to be focusing on kind of more of the image and her face rather than those bright spots. But this is really well done. Yeah. Really well done. Yeah. So those of you who are wondering, 3 lights. We got fill, the blue, key, which is the white, and then the orange, which is the third light, which is the background pointed back. Really good stuff. Yeah. Like it. Got one from Peter here. Let's have a look. Oh, that's interesting. Is that AI background? This is a cyberpunk portrait of Anna Marie Fuji GFX 100S. Nice. Been looking at those on eBay myself. Not the 100 though, just the 50. Fujinon GF1 10 F2. So this is the Peter. I doubt you're in stream, but if you see this, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on what you think about lens. Is it like mandatory? I think I've seen people say like if you haven't got the 110, just don't even bother using the GFX. Slight exaggeration, but digital background is in Blender. I apologize. So we got the Godox with the projection attachment, the gels, and then the Godox Light Mons, which is their new line of lights. So 300 watt color. Okay. So is that being projected? So these colors are being projected onto her with the projection attachment. It's interesting, man. It's interesting. Yeah, I like it, Peter. Yeah. I mean, anything that kind of draws you in like this is good, because we're kind of seeing through here. We got this like long exposure and stuff. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot going on here, Peter, that we're not seeing. It's cool though. It's cool. Yeah. I think playing with the composite like that, it's especially it's cool if you're making the backgrounds yourself in Blender. That's really cool. Yeah. Which is not easy. It's time consuming as well. So yeah. I'm really interested in how you got these kind of swirls and patterns and stuff on her. I don't think it's makeup or clothing. I think I can kind of see it changing density on the fabric here, so it makes me think that it is from the projection attachment, which is pretty cool. Yeah, really cool. Super creative, Peter. Yeah, I'd love to see that here. Absolutely love to see it. Good stuff. I'm always kind of wary as soon as I saw this with the hands being chopped off. If we had at least one up, it does kind of help. But yeah, I'm being picky there. It's just something that I noticed as soon as I saw it with both hands were cut off. At least try and have kind of one up there can kind of help. But yeah, beautiful image. Sterling, mate, you came in. You managed to get one in there. Thank you. Well done. Let's have a look. So Sterling says, was called in by a stylist, makeup artist to come in and rescue a shoot. It's never a good sign, Sterling. The photographer did not know. Oh my God, there's another photographer there as well. This gets better / worse. The photographer did not know how to handle studio lighting and could not get the inspiration shot style she was looking for. They let me shoot after I got the light changed appropriately. So you came in, fixed the light for them, they took the shots, and then they were like, do you want to take some shots? Yeah, no shit, I want to take some shots. I added 2 wands in front of her outstretched leg to add colour to the rim. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Okay. Yeah. Background is coloured by a strobe, reflecting off ceiling, adjusting spot by adding Fresnel, change from strip box. Okay. This effect was created in post by duping the... Oh, the long exposure is fake. That's it, Sterling. That's it. Oh, it's all... No. It's all gone. It's all gone. The effect was created in post by duping the overlaying screen mode. Then a one-way path blur applied to the mask of the figure. So close, Sterling. So close. Look, it's still a good shot. It is still a good shot. But points deducted for the fake long exposure. But to be fair to you though, like you were dropped in at the deep end last minute on a shoot that you weren't prepped for. I am pretty confident they're over the moon with these, like considering they couldn't get the shots that they wanted originally. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Color grade, I think, works as well. Yeah. Creamy skin. Good stuff. All right then, guys. We are coming in under the 3-hour mark, I think, and mainly because I screwed up the event post, so we don't have a huge number of images to go through, and I didn't have a ton of news, but we did spend a lot of it talking about the new Godox MS60R, which definitely interested in using more in the future, especially for those pools of light. I will just give this a quick refresh in case we had any latecomers. But yeah, if anybody's got any last minute questions or queries about anything, now is the time. If anybody wants to ask anything about, we do have one from Miko here. I'll just check that out. Miko, is that 2? Is that the second one? Did I see Miko down here somewhere? Or did I just make that up? Oh, Nico. Oh, you're lucky. Okay, that's good. Let's have a look at Miko's then. Very cool. Yeah, newer LED tube light tests with Antonella and smoke. Okay, so we got newer LED tube light. So is this more than... We got one on each side, right? We got... only one. Yeah, no worries, Miko. Yeah, it was... I saw somebody out there. I think it was Nico. But yeah, this is good, man. This is really nice. Yeah. So you're in chat here. Is this 2... We got 2 LED tubes, right? We got one over here and one over here. Is that right? And then we have a yellow light up here lighting her face as well. What yellow light is this up here? Yeah. 220 centimeters on sides and 160 sideways on top. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we've got 60 here, which is the yellow, and then we got 2 long ones here on this side. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Those tubes doing work. Great job with the glass as well. I think it works well with the colors. I mean, you definitely got the cyberpunk vibes you were going for. Just with these tubes, just try and raise them up a little bit, right? Because we want a little bit more light on the tops of these shoulders and up here. Less worried about down here because it's not going to be in shot, but you can get these tubes up a little bit higher so that we have that light coming down, so we get it, because at the moment it's just kind of coming here, so get that light on the shoulders. Nailed it. But good stuff. Thanks for dropping it in the last minute. That's good stuff, man. Yeah. Impressed with the newer lights? How much were the tubes? How much were the tubes? Because you had 120 and a 60. Do you mind dropping how much they were from newer? Kind of interested, because 120, that's a decent size. That's a big size tube, man. Yeah, big size tube. We're going to wrap this up, but as always, don't forget to check out my online education. I do one-to-ones, whether it be mentoring in terms of retouching or business or developing personal style, that sort of stuff, and then the online workshops as well, because it's more targeted at, some more kind of advanced lighting techniques and kind of getting into the weeds a bit on how to achieve it. It's not just here's a bunch of lighting diagrams, off you go. There is kind of a lot more involved with this, because as soon as we start using color, you know, we really start running into some problems. So yeah, check out some of these courses, and on the page as well. If you just click on any of these, you can go into the details here, learn more about these, and you can kind of see exactly what's involved with like the PDF of notes and all that sort of stuff that I give with all these courses as well. So check that out. Let's pop a link in there. If you haven't been onto my website as well, you can always head over there, and I'm sure everybody watching this stream has, but there is some books on here as well for free. You can just grab some of these books as well for free, PDF, so just grab those. I'll put that in there as well. There you go. Oh yeah, remember, do what Jamie tells you. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Do it now whilst I'm watching you. Also watch Mandy with Nicolas Cage. Jesus Christ. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much. Being just displayed here is just absolutely wild. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Do this again in 2 weeks' time, hopefully. And until then, stay safe, and catch you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.